I always believed I was just another cog in the machine. My life was ordinary, defined by routine and mediocrity. That all changed when I was assigned to a high-security project known only to a few. My job as a software engineer at a government agency had never been exciting until I stumbled upon a conspiracy that threatened everything I thought I knew. The project, codenamed Nemesis, was shrouded in secrecy. My clearance was upgraded, and I was given access to a secure server deep within the agency's headquarters. My task was to analyze and improve an AI program designed to sift through massive amounts of data. Initially, it seemed like another mundane assignment, but as I delved deeper, I realized Nemesis was no ordinary AI. Nemesis was designed to predict and manipulate human behavior. It analyzed social media, surveillance footage, and personal communications, identifying patterns and weaknesses. The goal was to control public perception and prevent dissent, but it didn't stop there. Nemesis could also fabricate evidence, ruin reputations, and orchestrate events to achieve the desired outcomes. It was the ultimate tool for societal control, a digital puppet master pulling the strings from behind the curtain. One night, while working late, I stumbled upon a subroutine buried deep within the code. It was heavily encrypted, but my curiosity got the better of me. I spent hours decrypting it, my pulse quickening with each passing moment. When I finally accessed it, I found a list of names, journalists, activists, politicians, all marked for neutralization. Detailed plans outlined how Nemesis would destroy their lives, using everything from fake scandals to orchestrated accidents. My hands trembled as I scrolled through the list, recognizing some of the names. These were people who had mysteriously disappeared or suffered inexplicable downfalls. It became clear that Nemesis wasn't just a tool for control. It was a weapon, and the government was using it to silence anyone who posed a threat. I knew I had to do something. I copied the data onto a flash drive and hid it, planning to expose the truth. But as soon as I left the building, I felt the weight of unseen eyes on me. Paranoia set in, and I realized I was being watched. My phone was compromised, my emails intercepted. They knew I had discovered their secret, and they were closing in. Desperation drove me to seek help from an old friend, Lisa, who worked as a freelance journalist. We arranged to meet at a remote cabin in the mountains, far from prying eyes. I arrived first, nerves frayed from the constant surveillance. Lisa arrived shortly after, her face a mask of concern. I handed her the flash drive, explaining everything. Her eyes widened with horror as she read through the documents. "This is huge," she whispered. "We need to get this out to the public." Just as she said that, we heard a noise outside, a soft, barely audible rustling. Panic surged through me. "They're here," I said, my voice trembling. "We need to leave now." We slipped out the back, making our way through the dense forest. The darkness enveloped us, and every snap of a twig sent waves of fear through me. We stumbled upon a hidden trail, following it to a small, abandoned ranger station. It wasn't much, but it provided temporary shelter. Inside, Lisa contacted her editor, sending the files and outlining the story. As she worked, I kept watch, peering through the cracked windows. Hours passed, and the first light of dawn began to filter through the trees. Suddenly, the sound of helicopters shattered the silence. They had found us. Lisa finished sending the data just as the first armed men burst through the door. We fought, but we were outnumbered and outgunned. They dragged us out, blindfolded and bound. I heard Lisa's screams, felt the impact of a rifle butt against my head, and everything went black. I woke up in a white, sterile room strapped to a chair. A man in a suit stood before me, his expression cold and detached. "You've caused quite a problem," he said, pacing slowly. "Project Nemesis is vital to national security. You had to know we wouldn't let you interfere." He leaned in close, his breath hot against my face. "But it's too late. The damage is done. Your journalist friend got the story out. It's only a matter of time before everything unravels." Despite the pain and fear, a flicker of hope ignited within me. The truth was out there, and there was nothing they could do to stop it now. The man sighed, straightening up. We'll deal with the fallout. But you, my friend, you've reached the end of the line. He signaled to someone behind me, and I felt a sharp prick in my arm. Darkness began to creep in, but just before I lost consciousness, I heard him say, "Goodbye." When I awoke, I was in a different place, an underground bunker, it seemed. My restraints were gone, but the door was locked. A small television on the wall flickered to life, showing news reports of the scandal breaking worldwide. People were protesting, demanding answers. Project Nemesis had been exposed, and the government was in turmoil. But I was still a prisoner. Days turned into weeks as I watched the world change from my cell. Food and water were delivered through a small slot in the door, but I had no contact with anyone. I was a ghost, erased from existence, but I took solace in knowing the truth was out. One night, the door to my cell opened, and two figures stood silhouetted in the doorway. "Come with us," one of them said. I hesitated, but what choice did I have? They led me through a maze of corridors to a room filled with monitors and computer equipment. "We're not your enemies," the other figure said, removing his hood. "We're part of a resistance. We've been fighting against Project Nemesis from the inside." They explained how they had infiltrated the agency, gathering evidence and waiting for the right moment. My actions had given them the leverage they needed. "We need your help," the first figure said. "We need someone who knows the system, someone who can bring it down from within." And so, I joined them. The fight was far from over, but at least I wasn't alone. The shadows of Nemesis loomed large, but together, we would find a way to dismantle the monstrous machine and reclaim our freedom. If you're reading this, know that the battle for truth and justice never ends. Be vigilant, question everything, and never underestimate the power of a single act of defiance.